Paul, good to talk to you as always. Thank you for your time. We'll start with Sean Scannell then. You said after the weekend it didn't look good. What is the latest on him?
Yeah, I think, to be fair, it was probably, we knew what the sort of issue was, and it is kind of what we said, a ruptured Achilles. So he's in a boot and on crutches, and will get an operation tomorrow. So obviously that'll be Sean's season finished. Hard one, forget it obviously impacts us and the squad, but first and foremost for Sean himself, having worked hard to get an opportunity, was in good form, and I think enjoying being back out there. Looked like he was playing with a freedom and an enjoyment. So really disappointed for him, but said that the players and the staff will be there for him and get around him as they have done already today. But tomorrow he'll go and get his operation, and hopefully that all goes as well as it can do.
I know with every player, recovery time is obviously different, but usually with an injury like this, what can he expect, do you think, in terms of that recovery?
I haven't sort of gone into any details, Tim, with Dave Moore or anything as yet, but I know I heard someone mention kind of Christmas time. It's certainly a lengthy one. So, there's I guess a long road ahead. But first and foremost, it's, give him the support that's required and try and keep his spirits up as much as possible.
Yeah, how is he feeling in that regard? Because obviously we're being so late into the season, a potential playoff campaign as well. How is he doing?
Yeah, I think it was, Saturday was tough for him. I think obviously we're going to have emotions attached to it, because I think he knew deep down that it was something, serious. Very strange, like I say, how he described it, not to be in pain, but clearly struggling to walk and feeling like his kind of boot had broken. It just didn't sound good, right from the off. So yeah, it'll be difficult, but again, he's been in today, he's been around the players. I've seen him chatting to a lot of them, got a smile on his face, and I think it's probably been a good morning for him in regards to being around the people that his teammates that he gets on with extremely well.
Yeah, how important is that to keep him involved and around everybody?
Yeah, I mean, we'll have a conversation moving forward on that, but I think he's already spoken with Dave Moore about being around. Clearly, there's going to be a little bit of time when he can't do anything, and I'm sure, he's got a young family himself. I'm sure we'll want to spend time with them, but I think stress that he, when possible, he wants to be in and around the training ground and the players and the groups. So that clearly he'll be more than welcome to do that. And like I said, hopefully the players can, go out there and put the performances in that I'm sure he would enjoy watching, albeit, I'm sure would rather be part of, but he's still, very much part of the squad and the group.
He has played very well the last few games. The fans have certainly been impressed with how he's done. How big a loss is he, do you think?
He is, and I don't want to take anything away from him, because as you said, he was playing very well Saturday. Even the first, was it, I don't know, 12 minutes did he get, 14 minutes, whatever it was, he'd looked a threat. And when the ball went to him, you could see the crowd, respond and kind of almost expect something to happen. He started the game extremely well. So he's, it is a big blow, but at the same time, we aren't sounding too harsh about it. We've then got to look at, other options and what we've got available. And thankfully, we've got, players that can come into the team and take that opportunity presented to them. We've got Erico, we've got Jordan Maguire-Drew, and we've got Max Wright, who are the most obvious, I guess, replacements, and have all contributed to the season to date. So, thankfully it's not a case of we've lost Sean and that there's no one there at all. We've got other players that will be, have been and will be desperate to get into the team, and I guess take the opportunity and contribute to the end of our season.
In terms of any other injury concerns, how's everyone else doing ahead of this one?
Joey Jones was missing at the weekend because of an ankle injury, and will be missing again for tomorrow's game. Hopeful that we might get him back for the Eastleigh game. So we'll see how that progresses. And then the other one is Mishi. Unfortunately, he's ruled out for the rest of the season as well. So maybe possibly might have been even early, but 2 weeks ago, perhaps we were talking about being in a really good place and really strong as a squad. We've took a little bit of a hit on that. Part and parcel of football, understand that, but not easy. I've spoke about Sean and particularly for Mishi as well. To be ruled out at such a crucial time and an exciting time. Hopefully that it's not easy for these players, but again, likewise, they'll be around the teammates and the staff, and try and, as I say, keep their spirits up as much as possible. I know they'll be supporting the lads and getting behind them. So it's disappointing to lose players at any stage, certainly at this time, but as I said, we ultimately you have to move on from that very quickly, and I guess it's, as I said, opportunity for other players.
Well, let's move on to John McAtee, because you decided not to bring him on the weekend. You didn't feel like the game suited him in that sense. Is this one against Boreham more one that might suit him starting or coming on off the bench, do you feel?
Possibly. I think it will. 100%. I get where you're coming from in terms of what I said. I think by didn't suit him, I meant as in the way that the game had gone. We've already had to make a change with Sean, Scannell coming off injured. Then we had the sending off and using Sean Pearson. We kind of had one sub left, and the way that it was set up and the state of the game, it didn't feel like it was the correct time. But John's trained again today. It will be a decision to make. He's clearly someone that we know has had a really good first season with us, and will want to be involved, I'm sure. So we'll look at that, and ultimately I'll make the decision, prior to kick off.
Has there been any decision yet regarding whether he needs that operation in the off season yet?
Yeah, he does, and at some point, that will occur. It's just a case of, at the minute, because of how our position is in terms of the league table, we obviously don't want the season to end on Sunday. So we've looked at different dates of when John can have that operation, because we would like it to happen as soon as possible in one regard, but also hoping it's not too soon as well. So yeah, we've looked at it. It's just a case of when the season ends, realistically.
Obviously, with Luke Waterfall suspended, Sean Pearson looks set to be involved. How important is that for you to have somebody of his calibre ready to go?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of said it many times before about the importance of the squad, and also about the season as a whole. It's teams have had good runs and teams have bad runs, but it's what happens over 44 games as it is this season. And we're almost at that point now. And like I said, I think these teams that are in outside the playoffs, that won't make the playoffs, that have at one stage of the season look like they were nailed on to be. It's for the long haul, and part of that reason is the people's squads. Some teams, clubs can't cope with injuries and things. The one thing is you need a bit of luck that people don't want to ever factor in. It certainly helps, and if you can, yes, there might be an element of players you signed that have had really good injury records, but also sometimes some things happen. And in our squad, I feel like there is some depth there, and with Sean, that's an example of that. He came on at the weekend and did well, and his experience will be crucial.
I imagine as well for him, which could work out well for you, he'll have a bit of a point to prove as well.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from it with regards to that, but I think me and Sean obviously have got a bit of a long-term relationship. We speak. I've spoke, many times about how good a professional he is, how good he is as a person, first and foremost, and he's invaluable around the squad. What he contributes in the dressing room, around the training ground, on the training pitch, and also on the pitch. His leadership skills, his desire, his will to win. I don't think he doesn't like not being in the team, but I don't think there'll ever be an issue with myself and Sean Pearson because of, he knows what respect I've got for him, and I think that's probably, likewise. He desperately wants the club to succeed, and you hear the phrase about being all in. When Sean's doing something and when he is somewhere, he's all in, and that's I can't really say much more positive words about him. Hopefully he can come in and do well in a Grimsby Town shirt for another game, as he has done so many times before.
How important is it for you to have somebody like him that when he's not playing, he's helping with the atmosphere and keeping the positive atmosphere and going around talking to players, for example?
Extremely. It's the things that I guess fans don't see. It's part of forming the culture environment that you do to produce, and while as staff you have an influence in that, you also need the right characters around on the side, and 100% Sean is fits that bill. Would also say Giles Coke, who hasn't been involved in match day squads so much of late, has been excellent around the group. He speaks to the players, he helps, he gives advice. If he's kind of almost taken up a slightly different role with us, and that again is credit to him, because it's not easy when you're not playing. I've been there myself. First and foremost, you want to play, but hopefully they feel that we and myself treat them with the respect I feel they deserve, and then they've been more than willing to sacrifice themselves almost to try and get the best out of their teammates and the squad in such an important time. But it's not lost on me still that they would both choose to play and want to be in that team.
After the game of the weekend, with that mix-up for the own goal with Luke Waterfall and Max Crocombe, I know you told us you were looking to have a chat with them, try and sort out those issues. How's that gone? Got to the bottom of that?
Yeah, we looked at the goal today with all the defenders and Max, and at both goals, and there was a couple of other bits that certainly included some of their other teammates as well. But as a former defender, and they know it, that it falls on your shoulders often, because it's you want that pride in clean sheets and defending, and the first people you look to is your goalkeeper and your defenders when you concede. So we've been through that, as we not always but often do with the goals that have we concede. And that's it. You know, we draw a line under it, we move forward. What we would certainly like tomorrow night is a clean sheet, and same would Sunday. And any time you take to the football field, you know, that's the aim, especially as a defender and a goalkeeper. You know, you do that, you give yourself a great chance of winning games of football. You know, we're disappointed with the goal at the weekend, and conceding 3 and 2 in his previous game. You know, that's not been kind of what the season's been built on, and, you know, kind of touched on that as well. But he's certainly not, you know, not all on the defenders. You know, the last couple of results, but we're a team. Defending starts at the front. 2 defenders scored the goals at Barnet to get us out of, you know, a bit of a hole there. So, you know, we're all in this together. It's not certainly a blame culture, but just trying to improve and get better.
Yeah, and ahead of this game then against Boreham Wood, you know you need a point to secure a playoff place. Because of the circumstances of the game against Maidenhead and the way it went with the red card, etc., was there much concern following the result, or because of the way it played out, it didn't bother you as much the way it went?
No, look, first and foremost, we don't like losing. The day that I get comfortable about losing is the day that I certainly, you know, not need to be in football and need to be doing something else. Hopefully that day doesn't come. But, you know, after that, I think you have to try to be kind of evaluate the performance, look at the performance, and not, as I've said before to you, it's not results ultimately get you the points, but it doesn't always mean things are right when you win, and it doesn't mean everything's wrong when you lose. I was very, very pleased with a lot of what I saw on Saturday. A 2-minute spell kind of cost us dearly, and that is part of the game. Of course it is. So yes, you can't just forget everything, but at the same time, we'd start the game extremely well. The reaction to going 2 down and losing a man was positive. We kept pushing. I think anyone who turned up to the game, if they hadn't have looked and kind of really counted, no one would have known that we were the team with 10 men. We were still on top of the game. We had more possession, more attempts at goal, more set corners, things like that. We just couldn't get the goal at the time when we needed it to really, I guess, you know, make Maidenhead nervous. The 3rd goal could have totally, you know, deflated the players, but they kept going, you know, and ultimately we played a large part of that game with 10 men, and you know, on that side alone, I know the penalty was after the sending off, but in general, in open play, we sort of drew the game 1-1 and with a better team. So I, as I said at the weekend, not too critical. I had a chat with players on that this morning. Don't want to see any glum faces. Don't want to see anyone feeling sorry for themselves. We're in a good position. Let's hope that Saturday was one of those games and a bit of a one-off that you sometimes get. And we look forward with optimism to the next game, which is very quickly upon us in the game tomorrow against Boreham Wood.
Yeah, what are you looking for then? What are you hoping to see from your players then?
I just want us to be us, Tim, and that might sound very generic or not much detail to that for maybe the listeners, but I just want us to go and perform how we have done for large parts of the season. Give everything, and that's always, you know, the message is we give everything, and if it's not good enough, it's not good enough. But I think this team's shown a lot of the time that when we perform, we're capable, and that's what we want. We you know, all want to go into the last game knowing that we're in the playoffs. But if it doesn't go our way, we've still got another crack at it, and it's still very much in our hands. So, you know, the teams that are also involved in the race for securing a playoff spot, I'm pretty certain they would all swap places with themselves. So, you know, we have to kind of be conscious of that, respectful of it still, We know we've got to perform. Boreham will come. They need to win the game to give themselves any chance. We'll see whether that plays to a more open game or not. But whatever happens, we've just got to be ready to compete, to run hard, to work hard, hopefully show some quality. And if we can do those things, get a fair rub of the green, then I'm confident in the team.
I don't know, it's an obvious question, but it's quite true in this case as well. How important are the home fans going to be to help you get over that line?
Yeah, absolutely. I think at the weekend, I guess tomorrow evening will be the last. It certainly looks like it will be our last home game of the season, irrespective of whatever else happens. It's been really good, I think, in terms of last season, the disappointment, but playing in front of empty stadiums. I spoke about the kind of excitement and wanting to get back in terms of a norm of having fans back in the stadium. We've had excellent home attendances. The crowds have been up. We've obviously had some good days and nights in front of big crowds. I think there is genuinely a kind of connection with the players and the fans, and I think more optimism around the football club. So we've enjoyed all of that, and I think Saturday was an example of when the players needed the fans, they were still there and they got behind the players. And I've spoke about this before, sometimes wrote it in programme notes, that when you're winning, it's very easy to get behind the team and cheer and shout, and the team's doing well, and suddenly, I'm going to all games and I want. It's when you're having either your tough spells or tough moments, as Saturday became, out of nowhere. Realistically, we although we hadn't got in front, we were dominating the game and playing well, and then all of a sudden, like I said, 2 minutes, and the complexion's totally changed. But the fans showed a good reaction. The players gave a good reaction. The fans did. That sort of togetherness didn't quite come off for us at the weekend, but I think it helped give us a chance. And we'll want more of the same, no matter what's happening in the game. We kind of almost at the end of the season, let's stay together. We know how powerful that can be, and let's hope that we enjoy another good night at Blundell Park.
And just finally, congratulations are in order, Manager of the Month for the National League. How does that make you feel?
Well, after Saturday, and they talk about the curse, I'd probably rather have not got it. Ultimately, all it shows is that the team's been performing well and picking up results. So I'm pleased from that point of view. Without being blasé about it, it doesn't mean too much to me personally. It's an accolade that you're the front person of it all, but ultimately it's about the players and the staff and the contribution that they've, the work that they put in to then hopefully get on a good run, and to come for April at such an important time. I guess that's the part that's pleasing. So it's it would have been nice if we could have followed that up with doing a weekend, but we move on to the next one, and hopefully we can get back to winning ways.